Yo, what is good, people? Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2022 My Team series here on the channel. We started the new FIFA 23 series, so it got me confused with the years there, but it is, of course, F1 2022. Like I do mention, we have started that FIFA series, but I wanted to bring the end of this season 2 years regardless in the F1. So even though we've cut back the upload schedule for the F1, we are still going to finish this season, of course. It's going to be one episode every week on Sundays. To fall in place really with the real life F1 schedule, the races being on Sundays. Starting this episode off, we pick up a pit personnel upgrade that should increase our pit stop speeds, and let's jump into the American race today. Like I say, we are finishing season 2 of the My Team series on the channel, and going forward there'll probably be a long break and hiatus, I can't lie, between season 3, if we even come back for a season 3. The goal of the My Team series is to win the Drivers and the Constructors Championship. So hopefully we can do that this season. If not, we will have to bring it back for a season 3. But yeah, so like I say, appreciate everyone who's still watching this series. Of course, like I've said, I've moved towards the FIFA series now. But for all the support that you gave me over the year so far with this F1 series, I wanted to bring the end of it 2 years for sure. So like I say, one episode every Wednesday, not every Wednesday, every Sunday. Sorry, I don't know where Wednesday came from. But in qualifying anyway for this race today in America, it's absolutely lashing down. It said that the start of the session was going to be sunny, then go wet, then go dry. So I tried to set a lap as quickly and early as possible on these dry tyres before it went full wet, but it was just impossible to get a good lap going with the slick tyres on. Then by the time the inters came out, it was way too late. You can see the top 12 there setting a time on soft tyres. Ayrton Senna, our teammate, getting through in P13 just about, which is luckily for him because he was on the intermediate tyres rather than the softs. But yeah, so we're in Q2 now, and as you can see, it is time for soft tyres again because the rain has stopped. So very weird weather. I don't think I've ever had a race in the rain in America on this game as well, so it was very weird to see that in the qualifying. Of course, in Season 1, if you haven't seen the Season 1 race in America, it was absolutely wild, and we crashed out on the first lap, so hopefully we don't do that in today's race, because that would be a disaster, especially when we are fighting for the championship. Like I say, could do with a good result from Senna today too to help us in that Constructors Championship, but yeah, it's still all to play for in the championship. We are like 50 points ahead or something, so mathematically we are not safe from Carlos Sainz in P2, who still has the chance to win it. And in the Constructors Championship, it's actually a three-way battle between us, Ferrari and Mercedes. Mercedes have been quiet this season, I feel like, but then they've just been creeping up here and there, and every time Ferrari fail, Mercedes creeping up on them, capitalising on that. But anyway, back to our lap here in Q2, coming through the final section, very out of shape in the final sector here of this lap, even though the first two were decent enough. But as we cross the line, very early finish line there, coming through the final corner, it puts us P8, just behind Senna in P7. Then at the end of the session, we're actually out in P12, Senna up in P5. You can see McLaren have really good qualifying pace the last few races. I don't know where they pulled this pace from, but McLaren have been flying in quali, and we are actually going to go out here in Q2, so it's unfortunate to see, but let's get to the race. We've got a lot of work to do.
Welcome once again then to the United States Grand Prix here in the magnificent city of Austin. It was here in 2018 that Kimi Räikkönen delighted the world by taking the top step of the podium for the first time in 114 races. There's always a record to be broken, so what, I wonder, is in store for us here today? It's the Circuit of the Americas then, situated 14 miles outside of the great city of Austin. This is a 3.6 mile lap with 20 corners, 10 to the left and 10 to the right, and top speeds of around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available into turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, with Esteban Ocon alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen, and Magnussen. Mick Schumacher, Senna. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. The owner driver and Lando Norris. They've taken a grid penalty. Gasly, Tictum, Carlos Sainz and Latifi, Russell, Schwartzman, Alex Albon and Yuki Tsunoda, Perez, Stroll, Joe and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Natalie Binkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Starting alongside our teammate then, Senna, on the grid after he took a grid penalty. That means he must have got P3 in qualifying if he's starting P8 after a penalty. So P3 would have been a great spot for him to start this race, but unfortunately he's way back down in P8 next to us in P9. Of course, we've moved up 3 places ourselves because of people taking grid penalties. Coming towards the end of the season now with only 4 races left, all the teams start to take those engine penalties as we try and get a little bit of heat into these tyres, doing some burnouts on the grid there, nearly spin the car on the formation lap, trying to get some heat in with that burnout. But let's see what we can do from P9 on the grid. Slow cars in front of us, so hopefully we can get off to a quick start here. It is 5 red lights and it is lights out and away we go. We do get off to a good start, especially compared to Mick Schumacher in that Aston Martin in front of us, looking to go round the outside of Schumacher down into turn 1. He completely pushes us off the track there, but we go round the outside. Turn 1 is a massive outside lane where you can just fly around, and we've done exactly that, and we're up into P5. We took Verstappen and Magnussen as well as Schumacher and Senna. So that's 4 overtakes in 1 corner. And now we are behind Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. Alpine have been struggling this season. Alonso should hopefully be quite slow in this race, and we can overtake him, and we might be up into the podium spots by the end of lap 1. But let's find out. Big snap of oversteer there which we've had to catch. So easy to lose the car on this circuit. There were so many moments where the understeer or the oversteer kicks in just due to the nature of this track, and we try and go around the outside of Alonso into that left hairpin there, but not good enough. Can we get this straight line speed out of our car? We're going to absolutely blitz Alonso for straight line speed using that battery charge. We're in the slipstream now of Hamilton in front as well, down into the braking zone. Who's going to come out ahead here? It's going to be Alonso up the inside. He goes up the inside of Lewis as well, pushes us off the track to avoid the collision with Lewis, and Alonso making a double overtake there, taking us and taking Hamilton up the inside, which meant obviously Hamilton had to take evasive action because Alonso had yeeted himself up the inside, pushed us off the track, and now we are still in P5, but Alonso up in the podium spots in P3. Coming through this right-hander now, we have to lift up the throttle a little bit because I didn't want to lose the back end like we did in Season 1 and cause like a 20-car pile-up like we did. That would have been a disaster if we'd done that 2 seasons in a row. But we learned our lesson, and luckily now we are still in P5 and we are still in the race, and we try the same move that we did on Alonso round the outside of Hamilton into the hairpin. This time it does pay off, and we are actually ahead of Hamilton as we head down the straight towards the braking zone. He's still got that inside lane though. Will he shoot it up the inside into the braking zone? Let's find out as we go downhill into the braking zone. There goes Hamilton very close to Alonso. We don't manage to slow the car down in time, and Hamilton does come out ahead at the end of the straight there. Nice overtake from Lewis Hamilton and a big oversteer there again. Like I say, it's so easy to lose the car at so many different points on this track. Very difficult to keep the car together and put a good lap in. Our teammate Senna is up to P6. He's managed to overtake Max Verstappen and Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen there in P7 in a Williams. He's going to be holding up a lot of cars, and you can probably see in the bottom left there on the minimap, he actually is holding up a lot of cars. It's a very, very tightly packed up group there. But our teammate Senna nicely up into P6, and our teammate is into the pits on lap 3. Senna comes in for a pit stop. He must need a new front wing, and that is a disaster class for Ayrton Senna in the USA. That means he's going to obviously be way to the back of the grid after he's got to put a new front wing on. And yeah, it's just not what we like to see. I thought, oh yeah, nice, he's got up past Verstappen and Magnussen, but he must have took damage off one of the two as he was overtaking them. And coming through sector 1 now, we've actually fell out of the DRS range of Lewis Hamilton in front of us. We've had massive moments of understeer coming through that first sector there. And again, massive understeer through the hairpin, and that's down to this, the tyre temperature. Absolutely on fire, the front tyres, the front right especially, just not gripping at all when we turn into the corners, just weren't gripping. And yeah, just that seems to be what happens when you fall out of that DRS range to the car in front, and they still have it, and the DRS pulling each other along. Like, it's so hard to catch up after that. But we are going to come into the pits now on lap 13. Max Verstappen managed to get past Magnussen, who was 4 seconds behind, and he's pulled up that 4-second gap. So we come into the pits and Verstappen right on our gearbox as we come in. I was thinking about going for an overcut, but I thought, you know what, let's just keep it plain and simple. We've got a championship on the line. Let's not try any risky strategies. Let's just go with what we're doing, like, right now, you know what I mean? And we come out to the pit behind Verstappen. How sway? How are we behind Verstappen? We've had a 2.4 second pit stop, and coming into the pits, he was at least 4 tenths behind us. So that means he's had like a 1.8 second pit stop or something crazy like that. It's got to be sub 1.8, and I don't even think you can do that on this game. 1.8 seconds on a pit stop, that is absolutely crazy. But we managed to get a nice overtake into turn 1 on Verstappen, and then coming through the sector 1 on these fresh, cold, hard tyres. Sector 1, very nice for warming tyres up, because you are going left, right all the time, just throwing the car through there, hoping it sticks to the ground. And yeah, we managed to get ahead of Verstappen through turn 1, and it was plain sailing from there, to be honest. Alonso 7 seconds ahead, not going to catch him. Senna out of the race. I mean, he was pretty much out of the race anyway with that early pit stop, but it's an engine failure for Senna, even though he took a grid penalty this race. Hopefully that's not the same component that he took the penalty for. But yeah, so I'll probably call this video like the easiest race of my life or something, because nothing happened in it. Like, and as you can see, a yellow flag there coming through sector 1. Here's Charles Leclerc. This is massive for the championship if this is Charles Leclerc out of the race who's caused that yellow flag. And it is going to be. You see the puff of smoke there. Charles Leclerc, engine failure, out of the race. But yeah, like I say, easiest race of my life. Once we got past Verstappen, we pulled a 4-second gap. He just didn't close it. Alonso and Hamilton just raced ahead. We gained another place thanks to Leclerc's retirement. And that was all she wrote. Like, literally, I was doing this race just thinking, this is so easy. They were so boring. Like, I didn't have any battles, really. There was the little tiny bit after the pit stop. The first, like, 2 or 3 laps were quite intense, and then we just dropped back from Alonso and Hamilton, and they raced off into the distance, and then we just had a gap behind us as well. So yeah, that's why it's like we didn't win. We didn't even get a podium, but it was still like the easiest race of my life. Speaking of winning, Esteban Ocon won the race, and you know how I feel about Esteban Ocon. So I was just sat there on my phone after the race, just checking a few things, and then I looked up and saw Ocon had won the race. I was like, oh, Ocon is happy and celebrating. Let's skip that. Oh, what, he's got a podium celebration? Let's skip that. I'm not watching that. I'm not watching Ocon on the podium. So we are a serial Ocon hater on this channel. Finishing P4 there, 12 points. Carlos Sainz finishing in P7, our closest championship rival, with 6 points. We get double the points over Carlos. Nice to see. Our teammate retiring, which is massive for the championship, but also Carlos' teammate retiring, which, you know, evens out the championship. You see, we're 37 points ahead of Ferrari as a team, 71 points ahead of Carlos now. So that lines us up mathematically. We could win the championship, at least the drivers' championship, in the next episode, which is going to be the Mexican Grand Prix. So you do not want to miss next Sunday's episode, because we do have the chance, like I say, to win the drivers' championship. Constructors' championship, though, I don't think we can win that unless we get 26 points, so we finish first and get the fastest lap, and Senna finishes P2. I think that's what we need to do to win the Constructors. I think that's bad maths, but it's something like that. Me and Senna need to get on the podium in Mexico, and if we do that, then we will win both championships, I think, in Mexico next time out. So if you are looking forward to that race, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're nearly at 1k. Hopefully we can get there before the end of the year. Like I say, I appreciate everyone who's still watching this series and supported it so far, so I wanted to bring the end 2 years. I didn't want to just abandon it. But yeah, like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know the vibes. I'll catch us next time, people. Take it easy.